It Ends With Us has been a massive success at the box office, but all anybody can talk about is the cast drama. I wanted to go see the film and figure out, is the movie itself actually any good? Welcome to Movie World Plus, the place where we talk movies. I'm Andy Signor, and yes, I have a movie review channel as well, and I post here as often as I can because I love movies and streaming shows, and I want to talk about them when I can. And I was very intrigued to see this movie. I wanted to see this movie before all the drama kicked up, which we've been reporting over on Popcorn Planet, our pop culture channel. If you're coming from there, hi, welcome. Hit the subscribe. But I wanted to see it and sort of make up my own mind of the movie in itself. And so I want to review the movie broadly like I do here, and then we're going to talk more about the drama and a little bit more spoilery things in the second half. And if you don't want spoilers, I will warn you before we go there. But first, let me just give you my review of this film. I got to admit, I enjoyed it. I was emotionally invested. I think everybody involved in this film did a good job. Blake Lively, who I've had some issues with from the marketing standpoint of things, does a really good job as Lily Bloom. She's a woman out there trying to make her dream of creating a flower shop. The irony of that doesn't, she doesn't ignore that. At the same time, she's trying to get over, generational trauma that she's faced and how she's repeating some of the mistakes her own mother has made. Her father, while she loved him, was not the most gentle man. And those actions are seen in flashbacks throughout the film and affect the plot later. Let's put it that way, okay? I will get into more detail in the second half, but overall, that's what this movie is. However, as she is finding this new love that she's met, she's infatuated with, and he's infatuated with her, played by Justin Baldoni, who is also the director of this film and acquired the book rights. These two get pretty intense. Things get pretty intense, almost too intense at times. And at a certain point in the book, she meets someone else who prompts her to really look at things differently and beg the question of how can it end with us? How can we break this chain of abuse and stuff that we've been ignoring perhaps, or accepting or justifying, and put our foot down and say, no more. I'm not going to let this happen to me. I'm going to stand up and ensure that I'm better. It's a powerful message. And the movie itself is filled with several powerful messages, not just about, the survivor, but also the person who is doing the ABUSE. Why are they doing this? What can they do? These are all sort of things that come into this movie. And honestly, as Blake has called it, really does make the plot a little bit messier and more complicated. And I appreciated it for that. It was multi-layered. There's a lot to talk about. There's parts you may not agree with, or you may think, wow, I hadn't thought of it that way. And I really appreciated that sort of look at this material. At the same time as all that serious stuff is going on, there's a pretty interesting romantic movie, like a rom-com, if you will. The beginning of the film does have some like sweet, cute moments where I was sort of laughing and smiling, coupled with these intense moments. And that's a rare thing for a movie to pull off, to actually have you emotionally invested in the characters, the seriousness of the plot, but still also have some levity. This film does it. And I was pleasantly surprised by it. It's, well done. The acting, the story, twists and plots and turns. While you may assume and see things coming, as I sort of did, I was still on that edge of my seat of just like, whoa. And there are a few moments I was like, whoa. And overall, I got to say, that's what I want in my movies. I want them to challenge me. I want them to make me emotional. I want me to feel invested with these characters. And It Ends With Us pulled that off. Now, all of that said, I'm frustrated because this movie was way better than I expected to be. And I'm just annoyed that we are now distracted by the beef between these two. I don't understand what happened on set between Justin and Blake. Clearly something. These two now can't be even seen in a room together. And I find that incredibly sad. I don't understand why these two can't be mature enough to just like grin and bear it on a red carpet and try to support each other the best they can. They don't have to do more together, but work together to at least shake hands on, we got this done. It's there. People are connecting with it. That's the best we could have asked for. I think it's very clear these two butted heads creatively. Blake Lively, a producer in her own right, wanting to launch a bunch of businesses. I think she's made some mistakes in launching some of those businesses and tied in with this, like her her alcohol brand. It's a weird look, Blake. I don't know why. I know you wanted to do a pop-up shop to sort of connect to the flower shop and maybe even your seltzer drink, fine. But connecting your husband's gin and your booze to a film about DV is pretty weird. So that's where a lot of this stems from. And I do think Blake missed the memo on what this film is really about, while Justin absolutely knew what the assignment was. And so from an optics standpoint, I'm more on Team Justin's side, because all I've seen from the things out there is Blake putting herself with the other cast members along with Ryan and Hugh Jackman and supporting the other guy in the movie, while Justin himself has just been on his own solo, speaking positively about everybody else, but no one is out there speaking positively to him. So I'm left to assume this is Blake not allowing him in the circle of friends, and it just comes across very mean girlish. Now, again, I don't know what actually happened. And if this guy, Justin, really is not a good guy and was a monster or whatever, then I feel like you need to spill it, Blake, because otherwise you really are giving him the short end of the stick, and we're sort of left assuming that he's the bad guy. Bad guy for what? This movie, it ends with us, and now I'm going to get into some spoilery stuff, really begs us to look at things from all perspectives. While Justin in the film, again, spoiler warning, I've given you now a warning, maybe you've read the book, or I don't know. Justin in the film is an abuser, but you don't really understand that till the end. The film does this interesting thing of like making an excuse for it. Like actions happen, and then it's not really clear cut what was happened. It was a mistake. It was an accident. He then explains it to her. I didn't mean to do that. And even I, as a viewer, like, did he hit her? What happened? I don't even understand. They do this on purpose because later on in the film, as another scene happens, we are presented with the truth of what is going on. And she says it, they make a clear cut. And they show the full scene more like, no, that wasn't an accident. And it really does create this very effective and just heavy, but well done sort of reality check of, sometimes it's not always crystal clear what abuse is, or sometimes you don't think you are being, but you are. And that type of story point is really important to get across to people and to talk about, because the film itself is like not as heavy with that as I thought it would be. It is, but it also isn't. I've seen far worse scenes of abuse in movies. And this film doesn't try to justify it. It definitely vilifies it and says this is bad, but it also attempts to get to the background of why he did it. And there's a scene in the film where you learn more about the backstory of Justin's character, Ryle, which I can't even want to say that name. It's such a dumb name. And it really was emotional. And you're sitting there like, damn, that's heavy stuff. No wonder it's more complicated. No wonder this guy is so intense and messed up. He's never actually been able to like get the help that he needs. Meanwhile, we're focused on Lily and her repeating the cycle that she lived with her mother, which she needs to get out of as well, but is seemingly very connected to this man who's connected to her. And again, it is more messy, to quote Blake Lively. It is more complicated, and it's not so black and white. And I think that is a very important conversation to have, to learn, yeah, it's more complicated, but abuse is abuse. And if that's happening to you, you need to seek help. And I do think the film ultimately makes that message clear by the end. They don't seem to try to glamorize it, which I've seen some critics say. I don't personally see it that way. People may have their own opinions of it, but I definitely saw Justin as ultimately the bad guy. But I also saw him as someone that I had some empathy for, knowing his backstory and hoping that it can end with him as well, that he could better himself in the future. Because what are we as humans if we don't allow paths for redemption and allow people to take accountability and put in the work to change themselves? Who are we as people? So ultimately, with that being the message of the film, that's something I connect to all the time. And to see Blake out there seemingly encouraging that message, I don't understand why she can't get over this beef with her director. I don't get it. I don't care how tense it was. This movie came out. It's now a success. Whoever won in the edit, whoever got it out there, whatever this cut is, I'd be so fascinated to learn more behind the scenes of whose cut we're looking at and what choices were really in contention, because clearly there was many. Whatever ended up happening, the film that they released was a pretty good job. It's a little long. There are definitely a few moments where it was like, that's a lot more than you probably needed, particularly with the friend. It's a cute moment with the friend, and I don't want to spoil too much of the plot. I know I said we're talking spoilers, but just in case you watched it anyway, he piles on a lot near the end. You're like, all right, it was already enough. Do we need that one too? They go there at times, but still, overall, I was very impressed and enjoyed some of the levity with like Jenny Slate and Sam Majaj. It's, overall was a much better film than I anticipated. And honestly, I got to credit everybody involved, not just the cast who do a great job. Blake does a good job. Justin does a good job. But Justin, as a director, also did a good job, especially working with an actress who clearly had different views of how this was going to go down. Justin managed to pull it off, got the film out. He deserves as much equal respect. And it's, I think, disrespectful to hear him talking about how great Blake is, but Blake not being able to talk about Justin. If Justin did something so bad, say it, tell us so we can know and expose the bad abuse. If it was just a conflict of egos, well, then shame on you, Blake, for now, crapping on him as the movie comes out and the movie worked. And whatever your fights were, they were all clearly worthy because people are connecting to this material. And that should be the goal for both of you. So I look, at the end of the day, I actually have to say I was impressed by the film. I would recommend it. I can understand why so many people are invested and seeing this project. There's a sequel to the book that I don't know anything about it, but I'm kind of shocked that these two seemingly aren't going to be able to make that extra money in that sequel, because from what I'm gathering, they can't even be in the same room together. But now Justin, who typically would be pushed out as Blake would probably just recast and get a new director, Justin retains the rights to the second book, which apparently is to the chagrin of the author, Colleen Hoover, and Blake Lively, who want probably to continue. But Justin isn't going to be able to be pushed out as much as perhaps Blake wants to. And I don't think Justin can push out Blake because she's the star of your movie. I do think Blake does a good job. I think any other people could have pulled off this role, and they might have perhaps pulled it off a little bit better than her. I don't think she's amazing. She's good in this. She really is good in this. But I do think the bad press out there, her weird junk interviews, all this sort of attitude and lack of accountability and apologies is not making me like her more. It really is going to stick with me unless I see her trying to be the better person. So I don't know, Blake, spit it out already. Let us know what's wrong, or my goodness, do a mea culpa so you guys can attempt to say it's over. There's no beef. Even if there is, you're an actress. You're both actors. That's what this whole town is. Nobody likes anybody in this town. It's a whole mess out there. Hollywood sucks. Don't make this franchise end with you two. Settle your grievances. Let's see this continue. Bravo to everybody involved in this one. I do have to admit, I like this one. What did you think? Did you see it? Now, some of you may have read the book. I didn't read the book. I talked to Claire, who read the book. She was filling me in. Sounds like it's pretty similar. But I don't know. Maybe the book's different. Maybe you'll have different opinions because you love the book so much and the movie's not the same. I know my daughter and her friends really enjoyed it. They literally, "This is my favorite movie." I think this movie will be one of those pinnacle movies for this generation this is a really good, oh my God, I loved that movie. It was really important to me. It was powerful to me. So respect to it. This is a new movie for the new generation. So show it some respect. There it is. That's my thoughts. What do you think? Hit that subscribe if you haven't already subscribed here. Hit the bell so you get alerts. Smash the like button and let me know your comments down below. And should I email? I'm very late, but do you want to hear my review of Alien Romulus? I'll check the comments out, and if enough of you say, "Andy, do it," I'll give you one maybe this weekend. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more reviews, including Beetlejuice, and more here on Popcorn Plus. Movie World Plus. Popcorn Plus is a good name too.